Transformational generative grammar. Transformational generative grammar is one of the most revolutionary linguistic theories in modern linguistics. It was developed by Noam Chomsky in his seminal book Syntactic Structures, 1957. A more elaborate and refined version appeared in Aspects of the Theory of Syntax, 1965. The inadequacies of earlier structural grammars motivated Chomsky to introduce TG grammar. According to Selig Harris, a structuralist, linguist, and Chomsky's mentor, linguistic rules can be derived from the distributional analysis of real data. These rules, Harris argued, can mechanically generate structurally well formed sentences. For example, Raj eats lunch. Rama eats lunch. From such distributional patterns, it can be inferred that Raj can be replaced by any other noun. Thus, Raj can be replaced by car. Hence, it becomes car eats lunch. Although this sentence is semantically odd, Harris would still consider it grammatically correct because the structural pattern is preserved, meaning our real world logic does not play a role in Harris's analysis. Chomsky strongly disagreed with this approach. He argued that while car eats lunch may be structurally well formed, it is not semantically acceptable according to native speakers' intuition. For Chomsky, a rule is valid only if it aligns with what native speakers judge to be grammatical or acceptable. Thus, language rules are not purely mechanical. They are part of the human mind's innate cognitive system. Chomsky emphasized competence, that is, the internal knowledge of language, over performance, that is, actual language use. He argued that structural grammars like IC analysis and PS grammar fail to explain the speaker's ability to produce and understand an infinite number of sentences from a finite set of rules. This creative ability of language users led Chomsky to propose TG grammar. A sentence, according to Chomsky, is well formed only if native speakers consider it acceptable. TG grammar attempts to formalize what speakers unconsciously know about language. It assumes that all human languages share certain innate and generative properties and that speakers can express the same meaning through multiple syntactic structures. TG grammar is therefore a system of linguistic analysis that identifies the relationships among the elements of a sentence and among various sentence types. It accounts for difference between deep structure and surface structure and explains how complex sentences relate to similar underlying forms. Structuralist models fail to address ambiguities, homonymy, and relationships among sentence types such as active or passive, declarative or interrogative, and affirmative or negative. TG grammar seeks to solve these issues. TG grammar has two aspects: transformational and generative. They are independent but mutually reinforcing. So, the first, that is transformational aspect. It has got three rules: phrase structure rules, transformational rules, and the morphophonemic rules. These rules explain how sentences shift from deep structure to surface structure. Every sentence has a deep structure, that is, the underlying meaning, and a surface structure, that is, the final form of the sentence. To illustrate the relationship between sentence types, Chomsky distinguishes kernel and non-kernel sentences. Kernel sentences are simple, declarative, active, and affirmative, and non-kernel sentences are passive, interrogative, and negative. These are derived from the kernel sentences through T rules. For example, The carnal sentence, John is playing football, is transformed by applying the T rules into football is being played by John, the non kernel sentence. Here, John is playing football is an active sentence and thus is converted into football is being played by John, which is a passive sentence. The two sentences differ in surface structure, yet their underlying meaning, that is, the deep structure, remains the same. Thus, deep structure represents conceptual meaning, while surface structure represents the final syntactic form. Speakers unconsciously apply transformations due to their innate linguistic competence. How TG grammar operates. A kernel sentence is analyzed using phrase structure rules and represented as a string. Next, the transformational rules modify the structure and produce a new sentence form. Then, the morphophonemic rules change the abstract markers into actual words. Phrase structure rules or PS rules. PS rules break down a sentence into its constituents. The basic rule is sentence equals noun phrase plus verb phrase, that is S equals NP plus VP. NP rules are noun phrase can be a noun or a pronoun, NP equals N or P, NP equals a determinant plus noun, NP equals a determinant plus adjective plus noun, NP equal to N plus prepositional phrase, and NP can be noun plus a relative clause. Verb phrase rules. Verb phrase can be a verb phrase can be a verb plus NP, VP can be V plus an adverb, VP can be V plus a prepositional phrase. For example, the cat sleeps. Here, this can be split into the sentence equal to noun phrase plus verb phrase form. That is, here NP noun phrase equals the determinant the plus N, that is cat, and the verb phrase VP equals V, that is verb sleeps. This can be represented using a tree diagram. We can first write the sentence the cat sleeps and then mark the determinant, the noun and the verb, then the noun phrase marked using the lines, and then the verb phrase, and both are connected by S, the sentence. Transformational rules or T rules. For example, the kernel sentence he is sleeping, we are about to convert this into the transform sentence is he sleeping. For that, the underlying analysis is we write he, then the present tense of be. That is how we write is and then ing and then the verb sleep. After the interrogative transformation, this becomes present tense of be, then comes the he and ing and sleep. After the affixing switch, this becomes be present, then he, then comes sleep and ing. Types of transformations. The different types of transformations are rearrangement, addition, deletion, and substitution. So the first rearrangement. John can swim. This can be written into the transformed form can John swim by rearranging the words John and can. The next is addition. John can swim can be transformed into John cannot swim by adding the word not. Then the next is deletion. You will behave yourself can be transformed into behave yourself by deleting the you will. And the next is substitution. I did it myself. Here, myself substitutes I. Morphophonemic rules. These rules convert the abstract formatives. That is, for example, we have earlier said the example he is sleeping and we have transformed the sentence and that present tense of be, he, ing and sleep can be converted into the actual word sequence with the usage of morphophonemic rules into is he sleeping. So the next aspect is generative aspect. In TG grammar, the term generative refers to the ability of a finite set of rules to produce or to generate an infinite number of sentences. A generative grammar does not merely list sentences, instead it specifies the rules and principles by which grammatical sentence of a language can be formed. The sentences generated by these finite rules are considered grammatically well formed even if they may be semantically odd or nonsensical. Chomsky's famous sentence, colorless green ideas sleep furiously, demonstrates that a sentence can be structurally well formed yet semantically unacceptable. Thus, T.J. Grammar distinguishes between grammatical well formedness, that is, the structural correctness, and semantic acceptability, that is, the meaningfulness to native speakers. While the generative mechanism ensures grammaticality, whether a sentence is meaningful or acceptable ultimately depends on the native speaker's intuition, not on the generative rules alone. Generative grammar therefore reflects the creative potential of human language. Using a finite set of internalized rules, speakers can produce and understand an infinite number of new sentences, many of which they have never encountered before. Transformational generative grammar represents a major turning point in linguistic theory because it explains not only how sentences are structured but also how speakers mentally generate and interpret them. By introducing concepts such as deep and surface structures, kernel and non kernel sentence, and transformational rules, Chomsky provides a framework that accounts for creativity, ambiguity, and the infinite productivity of human language, areas that earlier structural grammars could not adequately explain. At the same time, TG grammar is not without limitations. Its emphasis on competence over performance often distances it from real life language use, and its reliance on native speakers' intuition can lead to subjective grammatical judgments. The system also becomes increasingly complex as more transformations are added, making it difficult to formalize or apply consistently. Despite these limitations, TG grammar remains one of the most influential and insightful approaches to understanding the underlying cognitive principles that shape human language.